CSS is only as powerful as your ability to target exactly what you want to style. Today I'm going to show you every type of CSS, if not every type, at least I'm going to give some of them today, and I'm going to make a part 2 and tell you guys every other thing you need to know in a CSS selector. And by the end of this video, you will have complete control over every single element on your web page. In our last video, we learned what CSS is, how to link an external CSS file, and how to write the basic CSS rules. Today, we are going to go deeper into CSS selectors. And now we are going to visit our Google and ask Google, what is CSS selector, right? And it says here, it says a CSS selector is the first part of a CSS rule that targets specific HTML elements on a web page so they can be styled. It acts like a search pattern, telling the browser exactly which part of the document layout should receive a particular color, font, size, or margin. Beyond styling, selectors are also widely used in JavaScript via the MDN selectors API to find and manipulate elements in the document tree. Now we are going to demonstrate what a CSS element is. Now we are going to start with what we call the element selector, right? And what is an element selector? Element selector is a selector, all of H1. Let me just start with this. H1 is an element, right? Our P tag, our headings, heading 1 to heading 6, our P tag is an element, our div is an element. What again? We've talked about elements in our previous video, so I don't want to reiterate over that. So H1 is an element, right? So if I should say, give an example and say element selector, right? We have element selector as our H1, and here I come to the P tag and say this is a CSS class. We have H1 and then our paragraph. So we can decide to use any other element, and now we'll come to our CSS and then call either of those two. So I'm just going to start with our H1 and say H1, right, and give it a curly bracket. And now I can decide to give this element selector a color. Let's try with let's start with background color, and I might just give it a brown color, right? So can you see that even it is affecting other H1 we've done in the past, right? Like the CSS, right? So now can you see that it is going to affect every H1 in your browser, every H1 in your browser. Now if I come here and then give the H1 a color, a text color, and just take color, right? And I'm just going to give it a white color just to look nice. So can you see that it has already given it a white text. Now I'm going to come to our style our P tag as well, and then say P, our curly bracket, and I might just say text. Let's give it a font weight, of say 300, right? Or 300 is not looking too obvious. It's changed, but it's not really too obvious. So let's say 700. Let's say, yeah, so 700 is now looking so obvious. And now I can decide to, what else should I can decide to just say text decorator, right, and give it let's see, an underline, and here we have it, right? So that is what we call an element selector when you already have your elements here, and then you are trying to target a particular element. Now that is what we call the element selector, when you are directly calling out the elements and you are styling it. Another one that we have is the class selector. So I'm just going to comment and say class selector, another H1, right, and say class selector. Right, in this class selector, I might just decide to give this a class. Remember we talked about class and ID, right? So here is how the class is going to have effect in our class selector is going to have effect in our HTML. Now I can just decide to give this any name whatsoever. Like I can decide to just say class, or I don't know, I can just give it any random name, right? And here in this class, I can come here and then, we used our elements here, our elements tag in styling this particular HTML. Now that is not the case this time. This time we are going to call this name class, and we are going to use it in styling this particular HTML. Now we are going to call it using dots and then class. So whenever you want to call any name you've given a class, or you've given any class, you've given a tag, an element, you have to use dot class, right? So now we all dot that particular name of the class. Now I've called the name class. You might try to name it select anything whatsoever, anything. And I can, if I should give it another name, let's say I'm giving it class, I'm still retaining that old name and say class, and give it a color, let's say background color, and let me just give it a blue color. Can you see that it is not going to have any effect right now? This H1 is actually answering for this H1 because it is called H1 as well. It is this element, the element tag is actually working. This one is actually working for this because it is also an H1, right? Can you see that it is also having the color? But if I should use this name, and because I've this class is just, it is wrong, it is not in any class, it is not in any HTML, it is not working. So I'm just going to use this select and then change this to select, and this select, let's see what happens. So we have select, and can you see now that it has actually changed to a blue color, right? If I should adjust this, I might just come here and say font size, and let's look at a smaller size to give it. Let's look at 20 pixel, and can you see that it has adjusted, and I can just decide to say 1.5 rem, 1.6 rem, any which ways, and it has adjusted as well. So that is how class selector works. Now I can come as well, right, and let's look at another example. I'm trying to look at div. Right, now in our div, let's say we have p. I'm just going to use p and say name, right? Or let's say our name is Wizra, right? And this Wizra, I want to make it different. And just come here and call our b tag and say Wizra, right? So in this b tag, I can just give it a class and say different, right? So now let's come here. Let me give this particular p another class, right? Yeah, so I'm just going to say diff. Let's just use diff and different. So I'm going to call the first the first div and say I'm going to dot div, right, and I'm going to give it a background color just to make it different from others. Background color of red, right? It can see that it has changed, and now our dot div is working for the general P, right? And our Wizra, right, is the B tag is working for the Wizra, because can you see now that the B tag is bold. And right now there is something happening here, because our P tag here is having an underline, text decorator is also happening here right now. So what we are going to do now, I might just say text decoration and say none. Right, it has gone off. Can you see now that everything is happening because I had already called the div, the class div inside this P tag. Right now I'm going to come to this bold Wizra and give it a different color. I'm going to just say dot different, right, and I'm just going to give it let's give it a color of give this a pink color, and let's give this a blue color. And can you see that we have our name here, right? So here in this I'm just going to give this div, because this color looks too light, so I'm just going to give it color and say pink. This pink would be kind of deep, just to differentiate it. Now here we have it. Can you see how this looks? Our name is Wizra. So look at this, and that is how you can as well use your class to manipulate your class and give it beautiful color. That is it. Can you see what we've achieved using our class? So I created two classes in just one P tag. I created a general class for a general class of div, right, for the general P tag, and I created a specific class of different for this Wizra. And now I created this a tag, a B tag, a bold tag inside. I created a bold tag for the Wizra, and inside that bold tag is where I created my class of different. And now I'm calling both here. I called for the general and I called for the specific one. That is how you can manipulate your class selector. Now we are going to move forward to another one, and that is the ID selector. The ID selector is just this. It might just look the same thing as the class selector, but they are slightly different, because this class selector can be used anywhere. Right now, let me just go back to my my class selector just for you to understand what I'm saying. In this class selector, I can decide to give another let me just, I'm trying to look for, I can just decide to create another P. Right now this P would be answering for the general P that we created here. I'm just going to say this is another example of a paragraph, a class paragraph, right? So right now it's going to, can you see that it is actually working for the P we called here, the P tag we called here, which is something looking like something like this, right? So but if I should come to this class, right, if I should come to this P and give it a similar class of what we have here in this, probably in select, in the class of select, or the class of div, or the class of different, it's going to emulate the style that it is already given in that class. Right now let's start from this select. If we know all of these already had a style, now I'm going to start with the select, and it's going to emulate the, can you see now that it already emulates what we have in the select? Right now, if I should come to this select and give it a font size just for it to look a color, just for it to look nice, I'm just going to give it normal white color just for it to. Now can you see that it is, as a P tag that it is actually emulating the normal p tag that it is, that it is actually emulating, it has the 700 p tag, the 700 font width given in this normal font element, because element selector, because it is an element selector itself, right? And it is at the same time answering for this select, except I decide to give it another another element, or tell it to stop emulating from it, like I did in this particular div, whereby this wizard, right, I gave the class of different, or the class of difference was, or no, this p tag, I gave the class of div, right, was actually emulating from this particular element selector. But because I had called it class selector and gave it underline, it was underlining it. Now I had to specify it and say text decoration none, then it stopped being underlined, right? That is exactly what is also happening here, except until I say this should be, let me just copy it. I'm just going to put it here. I might just leave it and bring it here, right? So it's going to stop. Can you see now that it is not getting underlined anymore, right? So I might now, if I should take this select off and give it this particular selector and this particular class, now I'm going to give it the class of div that we already have here, and it is already emulating it. Can you see now that it is emulating what we have here, right? Now if I decide to come here and say different, I don't even know, let's look at what it's going to bring. And can you see that it is just emulating what we have? The style we gave wizard is having it as well. So it is, you can use class in different in a particular class for different tag or for different elements, and it is going to work perfectly. In fact, an element can emulate from different classes, as long as it is answering for every one of them. It's going to keep answering, as long as the class, it is, the class is there, it's going to keep answering for every one of them. Now you cannot compare that particular selector with an ID selector. An ID selector, it is personally unique for a particular element. It is not sharing its ID with anybody, with any class, or with any element at all. It is just there. So now I'm just going to look for a better element and say h3, right? Now in this h3, I'm just going to say this is a unique element, right? So I'm giving this, and it is just alone. Can you see that it is just alone, because h3 has not even gotten any styling at all from the past styling we've created. Now I'm just going to say class, id of unique. Now let's just say id of unique. And what we can use in starting an id styling is not dot, and is not the normal element like we've done in the past. And what we are going to use in this aspect is hash. When you see an hash this hash sign in your CSS, you should know that it is an ID sign. It is an ID selector. Now I'm going to come here, hash and the name. So the name is unique. The name of that ID ID is unique. So I'm just going to give it a curly bracket, and now I can decide to style it. Now I'm going to style it and say background color of green, right? So it has green. I'm going to say color of pink, and it's going to have the color of pink. But as a unique ID, right? A unique ID, it might actually work in this aspect. A browser can, it can be forgiving. A browser can actually still, emulate that unique ID whenever I call it, right? For instance, if I create it like this and say emulate unique, it would still work, right? But the best thing is for you not to use the ID, because it is not going to be forgiving when we get to JavaScript. Now can you see now that it is still doing the same thing, right? But it looks like a time bomb, right? Whereby it is looking good on in your CSS, right? But when you call this ID, on probably on JavaScript, or when you are calling it on JavaScript or probably Python, or on your backend, it is going to throw an error because it is going to tell you that you cannot have two IDs. Not possible. So you have to ignore using using a unique ID for multiple elements or more than one element, right? So ID is not something you can use. You have to give different elements their unique specific ID, right? But it's not like class. Class is generally for, class is for anything. You can use one class for thousands of elements and it's still going to work. Now we have another class which is the grouping selector. Now I'm just going to write this and say the grouping selector, right? And right here I'm just going to give multiple. I'm going to say H1 heading 1. I'm going to duplicate this and this and this, but let me just give it all the 6 to change this to 2. I'm going to change this to 3 and say heading 3. You know what, I'm going to adjust this. I'm going to take this off so that it wouldn't affect our head here. So now 4, 5 and 5 and 6, right? So we have all our headings listed right here. So we have heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So the benefit of a grouping selector is that probably I want all of these headings to have the same styling, right? So instead of calling heading 1 here differently and give it their own styling, and then come here as well and then call heading 2 and then say the same styling, right? Probably let me just make an example, and I'm just going to copy this unique style and then bring it here. Or no, I don't want it to look the same thing, so let me just give this a unique styling. Just give it a teal green, and this teal green looks nice. Yeah, I'm going to change this to probably, let me just give it a normal white color. Right now it is having a white color. Now I'm just going to take this and then bring it here as well, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate all of this. I'm going to duplicate 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to keep changing their numbers like this. So this, as you can see, that it is already stressful. You are giving everything the same styling. They are all the same styling. Can you see that they are the same styling? Can you see? But it is so stressful calling different elements and giving them the same styling. It is going to be stressful. So instead of that, I'm just going to clean from H2 to H6, and instead of that, you are going to call in everything and say H1, H2, H3, H4 and H5, and it is going to work for, okay, I've not called H6. Now can you see that it is working for everything? So that is the power of a grouping elements. You just have to group everything together like this, and then it is going to work randomly. Now I might just decide to do another thing, and then not, I'm just going to come back to my element selector, because I've already used class here. Maybe I'm just going to try this element selector and look at what to give. So I might just say, after this H1, I might just give this let's see, I can just say section, right? And in this section I can just say this is a section. Now I'm just going to cancel this. I've cancelled the H1. I'm going to cancel the Yeah, so we have, this is a section, we have them here, right? So h1 is working for something. Yeah, this h1 is working for this, so I'm going to cancel this for now, just to give the example. Or I might just come here instead of let me just going to copy this and then Ctrl Z just to differentiate what we have. So I'm going to come down here. Yeah, so here I'm just going to write, or no, I'm going to take this h1 off. Yeah, so we now have all of this to ourselves. So now if I want to group all of this, the h1 section and then the p tag, the section tag, the h1 element, the section element, and the p element, instead of calling them one after the other, I'm just going to say h1 comma section comma p tag, right, comma p, and I'm going to give them, now let's look at font size. Now font size is what I want to use. I want every tag inside there to have the same thing. So now can you see that it is having the same thing, except now I'm going to the only thing left here is the deep bold element, because it's still an h1. So I'm going to give adjust the weight as well and give everything the same weight. Now they have the same weight, right? Now I'm now going to say everything should have a color of let's look at a beautiful color. I don't know, I'm not sure of what color to give it. Yeah, this color, chocolate color, is nice. So can you see that everything is, in one styling? Those three elements are answering for just one styling, or for one group of styling. All these elements are working for just one group of styling. So that is how the grouping selector works. Now what we also have, we have what we call descendant selector, and this should be our last video for today, our last example for today. Now I'm just going to come here and say descendant selector. And what descendant selector actually does is that it's so it targets an element that is nested inside another element. You write the parent first, and then the child separates. The child is separated by a space. Now I'm going to make it. I'm going to just create probably a nav, right? I'm going to say nav, and inside this nav, right? Inside this nav, I'm going to create a bunch of anchor tag. I can just say www.google.com. I'm going to give this an https, right? And I'm going to create another anchor tag and say YouTube. I'm going to create another and say Instagram. Now I'm going to refresh this. Oh, sorry, I did not create anything inside it. Now I'm going to say this is Google. This is Google. I'm going to say this is YouTube. And I'm going to say this is Instagram. Now we have these three elements, three anchor tags, like side by side, right? Now if I should target all of this, now these colors you are seeing are just default colors for link, right? It's showing that this is a link. Now I'm now going to manipulate this. I'm going to change it. And how can I change it? Now I want to, without using a class or without directly calling just a single element, or without using an ID, I want to call all of this A tag and then give them another color. How can I do that? I don't want to just say A tag, right? And then just give them their color. No, I don't want to do that. So what I want to do, how can I make that happen? Now, what we call descendants, as I said earlier, is the parent element. This nav element is the parent element, and it is according to what we have here. So all of these A tag are the children, So that is why we call it descendant element, descendant selector. So now I want to call this descendants, and how can I reach out to them? The only way to reach out to a descendant is reaching out to their parent first. So the parent element is what I'm going to call first, and I'm going to say nav, and after calling the nav, then I'm going to call out the children, the descendant. It might not even be a direct descendant. It might be indirect descendant. So all I'm just going to do is nav A, and then I'm just going to give them a different color and say red. So now they are given everything in this anchor tag are being given a red tag. Now I can as well decide to give them a background color and say background color of black, right? And can you see now that they have it? So because everything is under the nav tag, the nav element. And this is what we have for today, right? This is what we have. This is where we are going to stop for today, and by the next video we are going to complete other selectors like the child selector, the adjacent sibling selector, the general sibling, and we have more to touch on selectors. So all of these selectors are what you are going to be needing when you are working on your CSS project. They are selectors that would make your project very easier to work on, and you are going to call it a day for today. Now today we covered 5 selectors, and I'm going to just call this a part one for types of selectors. So we covered the element selector, we covered the class selector, the ID selector, and the descendant selector. These are some of the tools that give you complete control over exactly what you style on your page and when. Now I'm not going to give you guys any homework for today because we are still going to work on the part 2. But try commenting, try sharing this to your friends, and or you can also try this on your own and let me know if there will be any problem, any issue you are encountering, and I'm going to give you guys a response. You guys should take good care of yourself, and we are going to meet in our next video. Bye.